Every year, about 10 million people line up at the Louvre Museum in Paris. They wait for an hour. They get pushed forward through a crowd by security. They reach the front. They look at the painting for a median of about 15 seconds. Then they leave. The painting in question is 21 inches tall. It is about 500 years old. It is faded. It is behind 2 layers of bulletproof glass. It is the most famous painting on Earth. It is famous for the wrong reason. Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa between 1503 and 1519. He worked on it for 16 years. The subject is a Florentine merchant's wife named Lisa Gherardini. She had no historical importance. Leonardo never delivered the painting to her family. He kept it. He died with it. When Leonardo died in 1519, the painting passed to King Francis I of France. It hung in the royal bathroom for a while, then in the palace at Versailles, then, eventually, in the Louvre. For the next 400 years, it was just one of many paintings in the museum. Here is detail 1 that you will want to remember. In 1910, the year before this story begins, the Mona Lisa was not even the most famous Leonardo painting in the Louvre. The Wedding at Cana, by Veronese, hanging in the same room, had more visitors per day. Most people who walked past the Mona Lisa did not slow down. August 21st, 1911. It is a Monday. The Louvre is closed. There are no visitors. There are some staff cleaning up. There is a man, also wearing a Louvre worker's smock, pretending to be staff. He is not staff. He works there. He stops. He steps into the room with the Mona Lisa. There is nobody else in the room. He takes the painting off the wall. He removes the wooden frame, which the museum thoughtfully had unbolted to make for easier maintenance. He rolls up the canvas. He puts it under his smock. He walks out a side door. The total time inside the room is about 10 minutes. Tuesday morning. An artist named Louis Barraud arrives at the Louvre to copy the Mona Lisa. He likes to copy it. He stands in front of the wall where the Mona Lisa should be. The wall is empty. He asks a guard. The guard says the painting must be at the photo studio. Barraud waits. Barraud waits for several hours. The painting does not come back. He asks again. The Louvre, slowly, begins to realize what has happened. The most famous painting in the museum is missing. They close the entire museum for a week. They search every gallery, every closet, every corner. Nothing. The investigation. Paris police. Inspector Hamard. He has no leads. He has a missing wall. He has, by some accounts, 60 officers assigned full-time. The newspapers are mocking him. Editorials are appearing daily. The phrase, "find the painting," becomes a national catchphrase in France. An anonymous letter arrives at a French newspaper. The letter accuses a young Spanish painter living in Paris of being involved with stolen Louvre art. The painter is 29 years old. He is just starting to become famous. His name is Pablo Picasso. The reason Picasso is suspected is not the Mona Lisa. The reason is that, several years earlier, his friend, Guillaume Apollinaire, had stolen 2 small statues from the Louvre. They sat in Picasso's studio for a while. The police are investigating Apollinaire. Apollinaire, panicking, names his friend Picasso to the police. Picasso is brought in for questioning. So is Apollinaire. So is the painter André Salmon. They are all questioned for several days. Apollinaire is briefly held in jail. Picasso, in his own later memoir, describes himself as terrified. He says he denied everything. He says he denied even knowing Apollinaire. After a few days, the police realize they cannot connect either of them to the Mona Lisa. Apollinaire is released. Picasso is released. Both are deeply embarrassed. The investigation continues. The painting remains missing. Months pass. Then a year passes. Then most of another year passes. The actual thief, Vincenzo Peruggia, Italian, 32 years old. He had immigrated to France in 1908. He worked at the Louvre as a glass fitter. He was, in fact, one of the workers who had personally installed the protective glass case in front of the Mona Lisa, just months before the theft. His motive, as he later told the court, was patriotic. He believed that Napoleon had stolen the Mona Lisa from Italy. He wanted to bring it home. Quick correction. The Mona Lisa was not stolen by Napoleon. Leonardo himself brought it to France in 1516 and sold it. Peruggia was wrong about this. By a lot. He took the painting back to his small apartment in Paris. He kept it in a wooden trunk under his bed. He kept it there for 2 years and 4 months. He sometimes took it out to look at it. He cleaned it occasionally with a soft cloth. The most famous painting on Earth, sitting under a single twin bed in a Paris apartment. 2 years and 4 months later, in November of 1913, Peruggia decides he has had enough. He wants to bring the painting back to Italy. He writes a letter to an art dealer in Florence named Alfredo Giuri. He says, "I have the Mona Lisa. I want to give it back to Italy. How much will you pay me?" Gary immediately notifies the head of the Uffizi Gallery, a man named Giovanni Poggi. They invite Peruggia to Florence. Peruggia shows up at the Uffizi with the Mona Lisa in a wooden case. Poggi authenticates it. Then they call the police. Peruggia is arrested. He is genuinely surprised that this is illegal. He believed he had been doing Italy a favor. He is tried in Florence. He is sentenced to 1 year and 15 days in prison. He serves 7 months and is released. Italy treats him as a folk hero. He receives marriage proposals in the mail, but the painting had changed. Here is what happened during those 28 months. Every single newspaper in Europe and North America ran the Mona Lisa on the front page. Every day, with updates, with theories, with cartoons. The painting was, for the first time in history, in everyone's home, on the breakfast table, every morning. The image of the painting, in newsprint, was, by the time it returned, more familiar to most Europeans than the face of any living celebrity. It had been described as the masterpiece. It had been described as the smile that haunts the world. It had been mythologized for 2.5 years before anyone could see it again. When the painting returned to the Louvre in January 1914, the Louvre had to put up barriers and route people through the room one at a time. There were lines around the building. The Mona Lisa was, for the first time in its existence, the most popular painting in the museum, by a wide margin, and it stayed that way. Every year since, the Mona Lisa has been the most viewed painting on Earth. Other paintings, hanging right next to it in the Louvre, by Leonardo, by Raphael, by Caravaggio, are walked past by people in a hurry to see this one, because they have heard of this one. Which brings us to what this actually tells us about fame in general. Fame is a self-reinforcing loop. Something becomes famous for some reason. Maybe a real reason, maybe a random reason. Then, enough people hear about it that they tell other people. Then, those people repeat the name. Then, the name is in conversation. Then, the name is on lists. Then, the name is famous because the name is on lists. The Mona Lisa is the cleanest example of this in modern history because we can pinpoint, almost to the day, when the loop started. It started on August 21st, 1911. It started because of one Italian glassfitter who wanted to do his country a favor that his country did not need. So in simple terms, the most famous painting on Earth is famous because it was stolen, then it was famous because it was missing, then it was famous because the newspapers had described it as famous for so long. The painting itself, frankly, did not do all of this. The newspapers did. And every visitor since then has been visiting a feedback loop. Hit subscribe if you would like more reasons to question what we treat as great, or do not. The Mona Lisa, frankly, has enough fans already.